Hello there guys, Raj here. I hope you guys are doing well. First thing I have to say is Happy New Year. I hope all of you guys are looking forward to 2020 and I wish all of you the best. So this video, it felt appropriate. It's a new year, a new start, and I'm going to be showing you some fragrances that are new in my collection. Some of these are repurchases and some of these I have I have bought them for the first time. So a few weeks ago, I did a video, a fragrance pickups video, where I showed you guys fragrances that I picked up recently. This is the same video, and it definitely seems that fragrance purchases for me are kind of like cyclical. So I went through a period of not buying anything for quite a long time, actually. And over the past few months, I've picked up quite a few bottles. So if you want to check out the last video and also previous videos I've done where I show you all the fragrances I've bought, go to my channel, click on playlists and click on fragrance acquisitions. So let's get into this one, starting off with Frederic Malle. And this one is a collaboration that Frederic Malle did with the Belgian designer Dries van Noten. This one is simply called Dries van Noten par Frederic Malle. Quite a beautiful gourmand fragrance. There's some sweet sandalwood in here, some spices. It's said to smell like pastries in some way, so you get that kind of butteriness from pastries. It's very, very lovely, very well composed. I really like the way that Frederic Malle uses synthetics, and synthetic is not a bad thing. You know, it adds. I think sometimes it can add something interesting to a fragrance. Very well composed, quite not sugary sweet. It's more, if you think, buttery, creamy level of gourmand, vanillic. You know, that type of sweetness, rather than kind of like a candy floss kind of thing. So yeah, beautiful bottle design, quite straightforward. I've reviewed this fragrance. I believe I gave it like an 8.8 or 8.5. So, you know, a good score. I wouldn't say this is like a love for me, but I do like it a lot. And I'm looking to get a few more Frederic Malle fragrances back into my collection. Or meaning, when I say back into my collection, I mean like have a few bottles from the brand. Definitely a couple which I would like to repurchase. So yeah, maybe in the next coming months you'll see a few more make their way back into my collection. Next up is a fragrance from a brand that I've never owned anything from them before. The brand is called Parfums de Nicolai. And this particular fragrance is called New York Intense. I went for the 30 ml bottle, quite a basic bottle design actually. It doesn't, to me, visually look great, but it's all about what's inside, right? So this fragrance is so classy, so gentlemanly, gentleman-like. Quite classic in its composition. There's lavender, there's spices. There's kind of like, I want to say carnation. I don't know for a fact, but I need to double check the notes. But I feel like you get that kind of spicy floral in here. So it's quite a classic men's fragrance, actually. Very, very well composed. Very classy. Yeah, definitely a good fragrance for the gentleman. And so I bought this fragrance in their store here in London. And they have one near, I think it's Fulham Road, or near South Kensington Tube Station, if you guys know the area. And when I bought this fragrance, I said, do you have any samples of Pathcouli Intense? Because I tried that on paper, quite liked it. And so these people always throw in samples anyway, you don't really need to ask. But I particularly wanted that one. The lady in the shop, who was really fantastic, she didn't have any samples at all, like in stock at that moment in time. But what she did was, you could argue, something even better. She actually threw in for free 15 ml atomizer of Pathcouli Intense. 15 mLs of this stuff. Travel atomizer, totally unexpected. She also threw in a Werther's Original, which was kind of cool if you guys know that sweet. Maybe it's more of a UK thing. So yeah, I mean, lovely. You know, I was really, really like thankful to her. So this is great, you know. And I was talking to her and going through fragrances, and I always feel that talking to the sales assistant, showing them, you know, your knowledge of either the brand or taking interest, and that always helps. Actually, I've noticed. This fragrance is a nice fragrance. It's quite a classic scent actually as well. It does actually, now that I've done a spray on skin, it really actually reminds me of Givenchy Gentleman, the fragrance that came out decades ago. And I can't really get that out of my head, so I'm not sure if other people pick up on that as well. Yeah, there's a sharpness to it. It is quite classic in style. Like, it doesn't feel like a modern fragrance, which is, you know, not saying that's a bad thing. But yeah, looking forward to sort of diving into that one and getting the full feel of it. All right, so going on to the next fragrance, I've mentioned this one already. I did an unboxing video, but you know, I wanted to include it in this sort of overall summary of fragrances I've picked up recently. But from the brand Xerjoff, 1861 Renaissance, I have reviewed this fragrance. Such a beautiful scent, you know, fresh and minty. Lemon in there. It's very, very like uplifting, and such a wonderful bottle design. I really like the redesign. I used to have this fragrance in the old one, which I liked, but I actually think this one is better. Very, very, one of the best I think from the brand. Okay, going on to a British brand. Xerjoff is Italian, but we're coming back to the UK now, and this is a fragrance from the brand Miller Harris. I've owned a few Miller Harris's fragrance before. I definitely think there's a lot in there to check out. I've always actually quite enjoyed Miller Harris fragrances. I don't think there's anything that I dislike. There are a couple which I'm on the fence, but I would say most of the time I think they make really good stuff. And this one is, I would say, more of a classic men's fragrance, but you know, women can totally pull this off as well. But I just feel, because this one is a vetiver based fragrance, I feel it leans more on that masculine side, or you could say mostly men will gravitate towards this one. And this one is Vetiver Insolent. Quite a nice bottle design. You've got some sort of plants or flowers or leaves design on here. Might not pick it up really, it's not going to focus, but yeah, this is classy stuff. I like the MH as well. I always quite like things like that, little details, you know. So vetiver, it's on the smoky side, but nothing too intense. It's sweet, and I also get a bitter coffee vibe with this. I don't think coffee is actually a listed ingredient. I definitely pick it up though. That's I know. Like, I can tell that for sure. Or I can say that for sure. Yeah, nice and green and slightly smoky. Vetiver done well, done in a nice way. Not freshened up too much, but not too oily and thick and smoky in your face. It's a nice middle ground, very classy fragrance. And Miller Harris is actually, I really recommend trying out other fragrances from this line. So going on to the next one, this is from Amouage, the brand that is based in Oman. And this is a repurchase. This is when it's Epic Man. So in my last video, my fragrance pickups video, I showed you that I had picked up Jubilation 25 for men, which I used to own. So now I've got this one back into my collection. So this is, you know, a lot of people talk about reformulations and that kind of stuff. This is the newer version, you could say. You know, I need to test it a little bit more. I've done like one spray from this bottle. So I haven't done a proper wearing from this bottle. I'm not sure there are that many differences compared to the old bottle I used to have. Obviously, I need to test it a little bit more, but this is still beautiful. Like, when I have sprayed this on once, admittedly only once, I was like, yeah, this is the Epic Man that I know. Obviously, need to get into it a little bit more. So what have you got in here? Well, there's a surprising freshness, actually, I feel, in this fragrance. There's nice incense in here, there's spices. It's quite classic in terms of Amouage style, or older Amouage fragrances. They have kind of gone in a maybe new direction over the last few releases. But it gets a lot of compliments from me as well, which was kind of surprising actually, because I always feel like maybe these types of incense-based fragrances maybe don't do so well with reactions. It doesn't really bother me, but I am still considerate of the fact that, you know, I don't want to offend people. But actually, this is a really beautiful fragrance. And when I say I'm considerate of other people, like, because I wore this fragrance to work. So that's maybe the only scenario where I'm conscious of the fragrance that I'm wearing. So another fragrance here that I've picked up that is a repurchase. This is from the brand Parfums MDCI. And this is quite a stunning fragrance. This is Chypre Palatin. Now, this fragrance is this fragrance has so much going on, and as you can see, this is with the orange juice. Now, there has been some debate online, you could say, which suggests that this fragrance has been reformulated. The newer version of this juice is lighter in color. So I don't know about that. I can't comment about that. All I know is I have this version, which is the one I used to own, and it's something else. It's really beautiful. You know, the brand owner says it's quite vehement that there's been no reformulations, so fair enough, but some people have said that they feel there's a difference, but I haven't done a side-by-side comparison. This is like ambery, and there's like a touch of floral honey sweetness, but it's still it feels like quite a dry fragrance overall. It is actually quite hard to break down. I used to own this in a partial size, like partially used bottle. So it will be good to get like, you know, heavy wearings, like multiple wearings out of this, to really get my head around it again. I don't even know what to say actually. It's balsamic. It's also kind of sweet, spicy. It's ambery. It's called Chypre Palatin. Doesn't feel like a Chypre fragrance to me, traditionally maybe, but it's a beautiful fragrance, and that's the only thing. That's the most important thing. So I bought this fragrance from the store here in UK called Jovoy, and Jovoy are global actually. They have a few boutiques in France, in Paris, and also in, I believe, like the UAE, I think, or somewhere in the Middle East. And I bought this fragrance over the Christmas period, and in the store here in London, which is a fantastic store, by the way, they had a Christmas tree, and underneath the Christmas tree they had wrapped what looked like presents, or like fake presents. Turns out they were actually real presents, and when I bought Chypre Palatin, the guy behind the counter said, you can pick out any of those boxes, or one of those boxes. So I wasn't sure whether I was getting a fragrance, or was it like, I don't know, some sort of skincare product or something. I didn't really know, a candle, you know, I didn't know what to expect. Turns out I got given I chose a full bottle of a Jovoy fragrance, and it's Ambre Premiere, or yeah, I don't know how you would say it, I suppose in French. Completely free, 50 ml. This is a beautiful fragrance. I could not believe it. I sent a letter actually to the guys at the store to say thank you, or an email. I didn't actually send a letter. And yeah, what a nice touch. What a nice little Christmas gift. Really nice. Staff in there are great. They give out samples even if you don't purchase anything, which is always quite nice. And this is a slightly boozy amber fragrance, which I never tried before, and it's actually really nice. It's really, really nice. It's a nice surprise because it wasn't on my radar at all. I've had a couple of Jovoy fragrances over the past several years. I've had Psychedelic, and I can't remember the other one, but there was one more. Beautiful fragrance, sweet, honey-like, ambery, boozy, nothing too thick or nothing too resinous. Really, really good. So, thank you again to the staff at Jovoy. So there you go, guys. All the bottles that I've picked up recently. Have you tried these? Are you a fan? Are you not really a fan? What fragrances have you picked up recently? I'm always keen to find out what you guys are buying. I know a lot of my viewers and subscribers have really good taste, so they always mention sort of sometimes to me fragrances that I've never heard of, which is great. So if you have bought any fragrances recently, let me know. Maybe it's something for me to discover as well. So yeah, there you go, guys. If you like the video and you like the content on my channel, hit the like button and subscribe. Check me out on Instagram. Thanks for your support, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care. Bye.